It is folly that we are ruled by a class of firstborns. Men whose sole claim to lordship is being first to crawl out of their mother's womb. Most of them do nothing but squander their opportunities. Sometimes it is a second son's duty to depose his incompetent brother and rule in his stead. I am one such man, and you, young squire, might one day become one as well. Yet even I do not compare to Thoros the Great. The second son of the Cilician Armenian king, Thoros supplanted his older brother and became the heir of his father's kingdom. Yet it was a frail inheritance, as the Byzantine Empire had its sights set on the realm. The Byzantines still nurtured the vain Roman dream of ruling all of the Mediterranean. And Cilician Armenia, weak and divided after years of internal strife, was an easy target. The Byzantines took the kingdom easily, and threw Thoros and his father into the deepest dungeon in Constantinople. It is said that the Cilician Armenian king was brutally executed on the emperor's orders. But Thoros was not his father. Using the charisma that the latter had sorely lacked, he managed to sway his captors into postponing his death. Some even whisper that Thoros seduced a Greek princess into helping him escape the prison and board a ship to Cilicia. Having met the persuasive man on a few occasions, I am inclined to believe that the stories are actually true. Now an outlaw with no following, Thoros found his homeland overrun and his family seat occupied by Byzantine forces. The once proud kingdom was in a sorry state, one which the landless prince was determined to change.
Vahka Castle, my old home. To see it in the hands of the greedy Byzantines is a disgrace to my fond childhood memories. I will need soldiers to take back what is rightfully mine.
I cannot believe my weary eyes! It is you, Thoros! So the rumors about your escape were true, after all.
We have longed for your return, Prince Thoros. Let us drive the insidious Byzantines out of your castle and avenge your father's death.
I must be careful. I cannot afford to lose many men before the castle is recaptured. The castle is ours, but this is only the beginning. On the grave of my father, I swear I will not rest until all of Armenia is free.
Our scouts located the castles from which the Byzantines control our homeland. Let me show you where our enemies are hiding, my prince. Some villagers have returned from their hiding places in the mountains. We must provide them with mule carts so they can start gathering resources for our army. Your two brothers managed to evade the Byzantines. Perhaps you should pay them each a visit, my prince.
We have delivered the local villagers their mule carts. They all toil for us now.
Your quarrel with the Byzantines is not our affair, but those dogs stole a trade cart loaded with precious goods from us. If you return it, we will reward you. Thank you for returning our valuable belongings. Take these discarded trebuchets as a token of our gratitude.
Thoros, you are alive. I lost most of my men and had to retreat here. Provide me with fresh troops and I will fight alongside you. Thank you, my brother. Let us crush those wretched Byzantines. We march! Bring death to our enemies!
Thoros, it is you. I am surprised to see you alive and well. Happily surprised, of course. You want to march against our Byzantine friend... enemies? I would love to help you, really. Alas, as long as their soldiers are roaming my lands, my hands are tied.
We have found advanced Byzantine weaponry in this destroyed camp, my prince.
Finally, those leeches are gone. You have no idea how many times I have tried to expel this rabble myself.
This castle will no longer house Byzantine soldiers.
All hail Thoros, Lord of Cilicia, Lord of the Mountains!
Thoros must have felt invincible as he and his brothers raised the fearless lion banner of his Rubinid dynasty atop the battlements of Vaca Castle. Against all odds, he had managed to liberate a sliver of his lost homeland. The Byzantine emperor was humiliated. Fuming with rage, he dispatched his agents to contact the Hetumids, old rivals of Thoros' family. Just as the emperor had hoped, Cilicia plunged into civil war as the two families vied for control of the kingdom. The Hetimid-Rubinid conflict painted the Taurus Mountains red with blood. But this was only a prelude to the greater slaughter ahead. The Byzantine emperor pounced on the weakened kingdom, leading 12,000 soldiers into Cilicia. To Thoros' dismay, many nobles who had once sworn fealty to him deserted and joined the Byzantine invaders. Spurred on by his brother Malay, Thoros tried to broker a truce, but received only mockery in reply. "We will grind your petty kingdom into dust and gut you like your squealing oaf of a father," laughed the Byzantines. Most rulers would have crumbled in the face of such adversity, but Thoros was no ordinary man.
Who should lead the other flank of my army? Stefan or Mlay? Both have very different qualities. I must make a decision now.
The sign of true leadership, Thoros. We both know that a coward like Malay is unfit for battle. I will not disappoint you. My mace longs for Byzantine blood.
Eliminating enemy commanders is the key to victory, my prince. Our spies have already located the Byzantine generals.
Take the enemy generals alive if possible. The Byzantine Emperor's pockets are deeper than a Cilician well. He will pay a hefty ransom for his beloved commanders.
The villages in this region will pay their taxes if we build and maintain fortified churches in them. Many wounded soldiers did not find their way back to our army. We should seek them out and tend to their wounds, so they can fight again. This village will provide us with resources, as long as its fortified church remains standing. These soldiers are healed. They will join us in battle. We have killed a Byzantine general, my prince. The Byzantine army is crushed, my prince. Victory is ours.
A mere 7,000 men stood by Thoros and his brothers against a Byzantine army twice that size. And yet, it was the Cilician Armenians who won a resounding victory. The Byzantine generals expected an easy win, but Thoros seized the initiative. His ferocious assaults shocked the overconfident Byzantines, whose organized lines swiftly collapsed into a chaotic rout. The Byzantine emperor retreated, ransoming his captured generals at a humiliating cost. Thoros kept not a single coin for himself, instead handsomely rewarding those followers who had remained loyal. Those who had betrayed him were paid in iron rather than gold. Unable to defeat the Cilician Armenians in the field, the Byzantine emperor turned to both pen and coin. Soon, he was hatching a new plot to bring the defiant prince to his knees. Rumors from the south had reached his ears. They bore the name of a merciless crusader, fighting for gold and personal glory. A second son to be Thoros' match. Many crusaders who set out for the Holy Land truly believed that they were guided by the shining light of the Lord. The less gullible among us, however, knew the source of that alluring light not to be God, but rather the gold awaiting us in the infidels' coffers. Before long, God's voice called most of the knights back to their comfortable estates in Europe, and they were quick to heed it. I, however, remained in the Holy Land. A second son like Thoros, I had no great inheritance waiting for me in France. Just as Thoros refused to kneel before his emperor, I had no desire to serve the master of any knightly order. I set out to make a name for myself. My knights ravaged the Saracen trade routes in the Arabian desert, even raiding the holy cities of Medina and Mecca. I played by my own rules, to the ire of my Christian brothers. They called me a barbarian and a bandit. But what do I care about the opinions of lords who wage war from the safety of their castles? When an infidel mother tells horror stories to frighten her children into behaving, it is not of them that she speaks, but of me, Reynald de Chatillon, the fiend of the cross. This fearsome reputation drew the Byzantine emperor's interest, Thoros was quarreling with the Knights Templar over a fortress on his southern border, and the Emperor asked me to intervene. I was conflicted. You see, to the east, the Seljuk Turks were a flock of vultures eagerly waiting for us to turn on each other, and the Emperor was walking right into their trap. But in the end, his gold outweighed my doubts.
The Sultan accepts your request, Cilician. Pay us tribute, and we will leave your little kingdom alone. Should you default on your payment, however.
We cannot trust the Seljuks, but we should comply with their demands until we have defeated the Templars.
Your tribute is due soon, Cilician. Do not disappoint the Sultan. Well done, infidel. We will tell you when the next payment is due.
Thoros, are you really allying with heathens to satisfy your thirst for expansion? The Knights Templar are under my protection. If you attack them, I will crush you.
This bandit masquerading as a crusader dares threaten us? We will teach that Frankish scoundrel manners!
I knew your father, Thoros, and he was a good man. I will not shed the blood of his descendants, so I will stay out of this senseless conflict. I will return to France, so I no longer need this dusty stronghold. If you escort me to my ship on the coast, it is yours. Many thanks, Thoros. I would rather spend weeks on wobbly planks than waste another day in this blasted desert. My stronghold is yours now. May it serve you well.
Idiots are attacking one of our border fortresses. Help us, Reynald!
We have seized the Templar fortress.
Do not panic. My knights are already on their way. Thoros, it is a sin that we good Christians slaughter each other. We should put aside our differences and fight the heathen Seljuks instead.
At last, a reasonable word from this uncouth Frank. Let us make an alliance and face our common enemy.
Cilician fights smarter and braver than expected. The Sultan will be most displeased.
Run away, Seljuks. Return to the wasteland that you once crawled out of. And do not dare come back.
Those who need to buy their followers' loyalty should always pay their debts. The Byzantine Emperor had apparently never learned this lesson. Having fulfilled my side of the bargain, I waited in vain for my blood money. Whether the Emperor had promised me too much, or had never intended to pay me in the first place, mattered little. He had broken his contract with the so-called bandit that he had hired, and I was all too willing to uphold that reputation. If I am not given what I am due, I will take it by force. In that respect, Thoros and I were much alike. A few months ago, I was still at war with Thoros and his brothers. Now we sit together in a tent, plotting our mutual revenge against the Byzantines. We would attack the emperor where he least expected us, in Cyprus. Settled by both Greeks and Romans, at one point a tributary to an eastern caliph, and now a Byzantine province grown wealthy through trade. The island undoubtedly had an eventful history. But Thoros and I were not looking for trading partners. We came as raiders, ready to write a new, bloody chapter of the island's chronicle. The Byzantines will regret their pride when Cyprus burns. Tell me, Thoros, where will your troops disembark?
I will make camp near the western bay. Go ashore with your knights in the east, Frank.
So be it. Come, fellow crusaders. Countless riches await.
The Byzantines will soon learn of our arrival and deploy their fleet. We must destroy their docks. The Byzantines have devastated our homeland for decades. But we will see how they enjoy the same treatment. Plunder their cities. The Byzantines know that we are here. Their Emperor will surely soon send his fleet against us. An army marches on its stomach. If you encounter enemy villages, do not hesitate to loot their meals.
From the moment the battle begins, we are bound to win or die. Charge!
The grain stored in this mill will feed our soldiers.
This war is cruel, and I would be a fool to stay on the island. Escort me safely to Alexandretta, and I will provide you with maps of Cyprus. Safe at last. You kept your word, and so will I. Here are the promised maps.
One spy in the right place is worth 100 soldiers on the battlefield.
Armenians, what a comforting sight. Release me, and I will help you defeat the Byzantines. They have made me toil for them for years, so I know their plans very well. Thank you for releasing me from this hell. Take the stolen battle plans. They will help you defeat the Byzantine fleet.
We have destroyed a Byzantine dock. Only one Byzantine dock remains. Now, where is it? Splintered planks and tattered sails float atop the waves. The arrogant Byzantine fleet is destroyed.
For 3 weeks, Cyprus suffered under our blades and torches. Those who think me a ruthless tyrant should have seen Thoros' soldiers. Years of Byzantine misdeeds had forged these men into vengeful marauders who now took their vengeance on the Emperor's Cypriot subjects. Only when rumors reached us of a newly constructed Byzantine fleet sailing towards us did we abandon the raid. But not before ransoming the surviving Cypriots. Thoros and I laughed and reveled together on the lower deck of our ship, surrounded by loot. We had plundered so much gold that I feared the weight would capsize our ship. In our merriment, we imagined how the Emperor would rage in his palace once he had learned that we had been behind the raid. Yet, despite our success, I noted a weariness in Thoros' eyes. He had seen decades of fighting, and it seemed as though he would see decades more. What would have been a blessing to a warrior like myself weighed on him like a curse. I could not help but wonder if the strain would one day become too much for him to bear. Our success had made us careless. Now it was the Emperor's turn to strike at us. And he did so where we least expected. Instead of relieving Cyprus, he sailed his new fleet straight to Cilicia. The Byzantines landed on the Cilician shoreline and besieged the coastal city of Tarsus, which Thoros had only recently seized. The prince hastened back to save his homeland, and I pledged to send my knights to his aid. Yet, secretly, I wondered if I had backed the wrong horse. When the Emperor's envoys arrived in my camp, each pile of gold that they presented added weight to my initial doubts, until I was fully convinced of my error. Apparently, Thoros' relatives had the same reservations, and they too were convinced by the Byzantines' impeccable logic. They were hopeless traitors, siding with whomever offered them the most gold. Then again, in that respect, we were much alike. Just hold the city a little longer, Thoros. My knights are on their way!
The Byzantine troops are preparing to attack, my prince. They will soon reach our walls.
My knights will be slightly delayed by the rough terrain they must cross.
I have a bad feeling about this. Reynald is a turncoat. Trusting him is risky.
It is nothing personal, Thoros, but the Byzantines have paid me handsomely to betray you. It was an honor to fight at your side, and it will be my pleasure to cross swords with you again.
The Franks have backstabbed us, and the city is lost. We must escape by sea.
We must take refuge with one of your brothers. But be careful. Seljuk marauders roam the countryside.
I am sorry, my prince. But Stefan disobeyed your orders. He attacked the Byzantines on his own and lost his entire army. We are the only survivors. Though we are not many, we will serve you faithfully.
We will never accept Byzantine rule. Let us drive them out of Tarsus for good.
Our foolish brother blundered again. Luckily, you still have me. A man ruled by his mind rather than his emotions.
We may not be comrades again, Thoros, but we need not be at war. What do you think of a ceasefire?
You know well that Reynald is a snake in the grass, Cilician. Why not come to terms with us, instead of trusting that bandit again?
Tarsus is ours again. Its inhabitants will now fight for us.
You just ran for your life, but now you are arrogant enough to refuse my generous offer and plot with the heathens instead? How unwise.
The Byzantines are excellent. The Emperor's bloodhounds whimper like helpless puppies.
Why do I always back the wrong horse? Come, men! We must retreat.
We have had enough of peace, Cilician. Our horsemen are eager for battle. It seems that we underestimated the Cilicians. Again.
Another day of death and ruin draws to a close. Will the senseless carnage never end? Oh, Armenia, what price do we pay?
When you summit a peak and there is no way to go but down again, some men feel a strange sense of despair, as if they suddenly understand the futility of the entire pursuit. The same is true of men like Thoros, whose mountains to overcome are not physical, but political. Perhaps it was this sense of having accomplished everything he set out to do that made him relinquish the throne. Or maybe he was simply fed up with the constant cycle of false promises, short-lived alliances, and treacherous friends that is politics. Either way, it was in this moment of triumph, when all of his enemies, Byzantines, Seljuks, and Crusaders alike, had been pushed back, that Thoros abdicated and left the throne to his eldest son. The strain that I had once seen in him had finally become too much. He walked away from his life's accomplishments, discarding the crown for which he had fought so hard, and strode up into the mountains. From what I hear, he now lives among the monks in an isolated monastery, far from bustling courts and scream-filled battlefields. I have heard others applaud his wisdom in relinquishing earthly desires in the hope of finding peace. If that is wisdom, then I am no wise man. Nor will I ever be. I was and will remain a restless warrior, a servant of shifting masters, behind whose ever-changing mask rests an opportunistic, ruthless mercenary. In that respect, Thoros and I are not alike.